Okay, good morning, everybody. So we're playing something kind of new, something kind of old today. Where when Modern Horizons 2 first came out, like I was really into like the Lurrus blue-red decks. And lately I've been really into Esper Sentinel. I think this card is kind of like criminally underplayed in fair strategies. I've been playing this a lot in like Stoneblade decks and like the artifact-based mid-range decks. And this card is just like you don't need like support for it. You don't need to like buff its power. You don't need to be an artifact deck. It being an artifact to the human is an upside that it can go in those strategies, but it's just a good card. It's just a good card. And so the kind of idea here is one, of course, just play all the best 1-mana creatures in this deck, Ragavan, Channeler, Sentinel, and get a pretty big edge in opposing, spell-based matchups. And the other idea is that, like, Murktide Regent is, not as good as it's been, with Solitude making its, kind of way and to being a new modern staple. That being said, I think that the Solitude decks are on the decline a little bit. I think Murktide Regent is definitely back on the rise a little bit. Did pretty well this weekend. But I think that kind of theory still stands, that Murktide is, like, I really feel like I should have come up with this list, like, last week, you know what I mean? Where I feel like this list would have been a bit better then, but it's still something I want to explore. And then also, like, you don't need to play cantrips without the Murktide Regent, which is nice. So that way you actually get to play 21 lands, which gives you 13 white sources, 14 red sources, which is pretty good for the white mana 1-drops. And also Esper Sentinel is an artifact creature, which does help Delirium, which is kind of nice. Della, thank you for 2 months. Appreciate ya. Glad you're catching the stream. There's a Blue Moon Breachless and Challenge. I didn't see it, but cool. Cool. But yeah, I think this deck's gonna be pretty good. I'm pretty excited for it. It was a little bit harder to build than it might look like. Like, realizing that the deck just didn't want to play any cantrips, I think, was kind of what got it there for me. Alright, let's keep this. Ross Marion went 2-2 with Esper Mare at the Invitational, so it was too inconsistent. I was play for Vegas. Thoughts? That deck is inconsistent, but it's, you always have, like, the axis of inconsistency versus power level. You know what I mean? That being said, I also think that the deck is very strong, and while it is a somewhat inconsistent deck, I don't know exactly how. I think that a lot of players will pick up the list, and then they will not mulligan aggressively enough and think that the deck is too inconsistent. I don't think that. I wouldn't say that it's too inconsistent. You know what I mean? Like, that deck does have higher degree of variance than other decks, but it also, like, in my opinion, does make up for it and raw power level. I'm gonna keep the ending, I think. Why would I have a haircut command? But yeah, I think it's, like, very easy to pick up that deck and then not mulligan aggressively enough and say, that's, a little too inconsistent. But obviously I don't know how Ross played it. I don't know, like, how bad the variance was. But I do agree that, like, if you're gonna register that deck for a big tournament, you kind of have to be okay losing to some variance. So they did not reveal a Lurrus. Which is a bit odd. I think I'll go ahead and cast the crab, though. I have found that in the Mill versus Ragavan matchup, like, you actually do, like, because you're getting to hit a bunch of mill cards off the Ragavan, you end up being able to mill them out a decent amount of the time. Almost seemed like he mulliganed too much. Usually he was keeping a bunch of loose 7s on stream. Got there, like, every time. Maybe, it's obviously, like, really hard to, like, make comments like this without, seeing the games. I think I want to use the ending on the crab. Okay. Yeah, we could steal the crab. I think I'm just going to use the ending, though, because the ending just doesn't really do anything else. And I think I'm going to fetch and pass. See if they draw trap their turn. If they cast a trap on me, I think I'll let it resolve, just because Tasha's is such a nightmare. If they play a second trap, I might have to counter it. They don't have it. They are main decking Leyline in the Void, so that's why they don't have Lurrus. Hey, it's Pain, 5 months. Thank you so much. Glad you liking the stream. Played your random list, 5k, 4-3 losing a Hammer twice. Hammer's a really good matchup. Hammer's a really good matchup for the deck. Like with all of you have 4 main deck Solitude. Solitude Ephemerate crushes them. Sarah's Emissary is good against them. You have Prismatic Ending. You can still lose to it, but I wouldn't play explosives for the Hammer time matchup. Let's draw 2. Yeah, I would say like of all the tier 1 decks, Hammer is your best matchup. Alright, Cycle Fractured Sanity. You might lose to it sometimes, but that's okay. Let's get the Sentinel down. Yeah, Leyline Surgical combo. Yeah, I really like the list too, for sure. What is this? Is this Murderous Cut? Surgical Extraction, target Archmage's Charm. And they spend a mana instead of life, so they're gonna let me draw a card. I'll just let this resolve. I feel like the 2 life was not worth a card here. Zoe, thank you for the 8 months, appreciate you. Wait, they left the charm in the graveyard, which I guess is fine. They want to do that for Ancestral. Yeah, I finally sold my full set from the challenge last weekend and got myself some nice counter spells. Let me use my mana here to kill the crab. Give ruins out of hammers. What got you? I was wondering, sitting on Solitude would do nothing. I mean, yeah, you're gonna lose to stuff sometimes. Like I'm not saying like just because the matchup is like yeah, you'll lose to Giver sometimes. Sometimes you'll have ending for Giver. Sometimes you won't. I'm not saying you can't lose the matchup, but I'm saying that you should not overcompensate for like losing like one match. This happens a lot. Like this even happened this morning where we're talking about oh, I guess sorry, I forgot. I need to put this in hand. That was my bad. But this happened this morning where we're talking about Ross's results at the Invitational, and we're like, oh, he, you know, went 2-2 in the Invitational with 3 Animator. He said the deck is too inconsistent. But the reality is, it's like this happens all the time where people will pick up a deck that I've been working on, and they'll have like a mediocre run, and they'll think the deck as a whole is, you know, not good, right? But the reality is, like, you just you can't judge a deck off of like one F&M result or one, you know, one 4-match span at an Invitational. It's just like way too small a sample size to like be any sort of meaningful data. Doctor, thank you for the 4 months. Appreciate you. Interesting. Those will be for 14 down to 12. 12 cards in library. Let's get a channeler down, I think. Yeah, I think the deck's really good too. I mean, yeah, I'm just saying that like this just happens a lot, where people will lose one matchup that's even like, you know, favorable sometimes. And they'll be like, all right, how do we overcompensate for this? Just take your L's, I think. All right, so I do have one more counterspell in the deck, which gives me some insurance here, or like. Ideally, we could draw it. Although if their hand is Tasha's Hideous Laughter and a counterspell, you know, we can lose too. And I will graveyard this. We're dead to any burn spell, so I think trying to actually find the last counterspell is worth it here. They surgicaled my Archmage's Charms. Okay, so I can attack them for 7 this turn. Kill them next turn. Yeah, I think I just need to draw the counterspell. Now, 2 turns ago, they did tap 5 mana and then untap it. Let me see what my top card is. So it did kind of seem like their last card was an Archive Trap. But if their last card is Archive Trap, we're dead no matter what because they just spend 5 mana on it. So I'm going to fetch now to shuffle. Yeah, we can't beat Archmage's Charm or Archive Trap no matter what. Yeah. If we leave, you know, the other card on top here. So we did lose this one. Dash Ragavan from the yard. Yeah, it just doesn't accomplish anything, right? Like, but the Bauble could have let us find a counterspell there. We had, you know, 2 looks without shuffling out of like 8 cards with 1 counterspell left in the deck. I feel like that was plenty. The deck tech for Rooster. Problem with Blossoming Calm is they just really don't have that many things that target you anymore. You could have drawn from the Sentinel. Didn't they have 6 mana? You could have played second Sentinel, hope it's in the top 3. I thought they had 6. How do you beat Chalced 1? We have 4 Prismatic Endings in the main deck to exile Chalced 1. They had 5? Okay, yeah, then maybe that was a better line. Yeah. That was probably a better line. Okay. I think I'm going down to go 1 Unholy Heat, 2 Endings, 3 Bolts. Maybe I should be at like 61, 62. Let's fit 62. Alright, so this is Grinding Walled Fiddlebender. The idea that you're gonna... Oh, I think I saw the U5 with this list. I think I saw it on Twitter. I remember thinking it looked pretty cool. You know, historically, I'm like really low on the... I guess we keep this. Historically, I'm like really low on the Grinding Station Underworld Breach combo deck. I think that they're generally like really easy to interact with and inconsistent. But this has kind of felt like a reasonable version. Yeah, I'm gonna fetch now. If they trap me, I'll Flusterstorm. Just trying to think of. I remember looking at the list. I remember thinking that it was good. I didn't want to change too much. In this version, I might play like the second Greaves over this like second Nettle Cyst. Yeah, but I do really like the main deck. You could also consider not playing the Nettle Cyst at all to get Lurrus as a companion. I feel like Lurrus as a companion is really nice to be able to like outgrind some opponents. They shocked here, so I'm not gonna, I think, cast a Ragavan this turn. Sideboard looks pretty good too. The Void, no, the Void Mirror is a bit awkward though in your deck, right? I guess no. This is the Ruin Crab. I'll let this one go. Yeah, is a Void Mirror a bit awkward in your deck? Maybe just try to out combo some of the opposing. Yeah, try to out combo like the Cascade decks. Maybe be my advice. Cool list though, I do like it. Yeah, I don't think you want to play Smith or Stoneforge. I see those in the maybe board. So yet again, start with Lurrus to build a Modern deck. Well, this time actually started with me just wanting to play all the Jeskai 1-drops, but then like Lurrus was a really natural fit for it. But yeah. Alright. I would counter the Ruin Crab. I think I have to let these crabs resolve. For now, at least. Surgical by counterspells. Damn it, Dan. Thank you for the 21 months. Appreciate you, dude. Alright, no land drop to go with these crabs. Kind of nice. Then they have 2 cards in their hand. We probably get to connect with Ragavan. Finally got to play Jeskai Broken. Deck felt competitive, but not there yet. I still need some tuning. Yeah, I agree that the deck does need a little tuning. Good luck to you on your journey. I am totally fine getting my Ragavan Chump Block there. Iteration. Okay, let's go hand, bottom, Exile Sentinel, I think. What do you think of the Dark Confidant and Hammerless? I think it's good in specifically a metagame where you think blue-white control is the best deck. And if it's not, I think that you're better off playing Ingenious Smith. But also like you know, even if even if that's like not the case, even if blue-white control isn't the best deck in the metagame, if you're playing the Dark Confidant version, it's still going to be totally fine. Like that like Bob is a good card in the deck, but I just don't think it's always the best card in that spot. How many lands? I'm playing 21. You can type ! Deck and find the list. So like usually in these kind of lists I play like 19-ish, depending on how many cantrips I'm playing. But I didn't want to play Consider, just because I feel like it would be so awkward to mill over one of our fountains. And Esper Sentinel also really helps us hit Delirium too. Yeah, Esper Sentinel really helps us hit Delirium, so I don't think we need the cantrips. And playing 21 lands lets us have 13 white sources, 14 red sources, which actually I think makes the mana pretty good compared to trying to play this deck on 19 lands and you're just like light on red or white sources on turn 1. Veto, 20 months, thank you so much. Alright, this is just a cantrip. Dude, my opponents let me draw on Sentinel every single time, which I guess makes some sense in the mill deck, right? Let my friend borrow a deck for Vegas, and he's agreed to get some card signs, hoping you'd sign some basic lands. Is 6 too many? 6 is fine. That's fine. Yeah, if you see me there, I'm happy to sign them. I'll actually bring a Sharpie with me this time. I thought it was so douchey to bring a Sharpie to the Hunter Burton, and then I just eventually realized I had to get one. But I thought about any updates to Toski Blade. I think I have. Like, I think the best way to build it is like with like a lot of disruptive creatures at the moment. But, you know, to be honest, it's not the most fun way to build it, so I haven't really been messing around with it too much. But I think that's the best way to build it. I've got like some lists that's probably would need to be updated again. But I'm also playing Sentinel and Bant Toski Blade. I've also been really liking like straight blue-white Stoneblade lately, so I'm probably going to stick to that somewhat. The 3 full Yorion decks and 4DH decks, of course. I could never deny a viewer even the most ridiculous request. Look at the bullet from the Little Rascals movie with the haircut. Yeah. I always like to get it cut really short so I don't have to mess with it for a while. I've never heard that one before. Is this surgical? Okay, again, they're letting me draw a card. Big policy number of cards with only one signature, spread it out across the whole array of cards. Oh yeah, this is something too. If you want me to sign your cards, my signature is really bad. I have very shaky hands and very bad handwriting, so I'm probably gonna ruin your cards. So just be okay with that. Regent, Lurrus is better than Regent. It's a little bit more than that. Where like it's kind of like it's honestly that like Sentinel is better than Regent right now, or at least Sentinel plus Lurrus is better than Regent. Is at least the working theory. I don't need to counter this. Just play it off the Lurrus. And just like Sentinel is criminally underplayed. Esper Sentinel is a criminally underplayed modern card. It is like as good of a 1-drop as Dragon Rage's Channeler and Ragavan. When it's be played in the early game in the same way as these two cards, it just defines what the dynamic of the early game is about. And getting to play it alongside Channeler and Ragavan and just have all of these insane early plays, I feel like is something you're really incentivized to do. I can play the other Sentinel, which is matter. They have no cards. I have 2 counterspells. Because I think Witcher 1. And also like Sentinel like turns on Delirium. It gives you like a really big edge against the control decks. It gives you an edge against the other DRC Ragavan decks. That card just kind of cracked. And then you also get to play Lurrus' Companion too, which is really nice, but I think the deck came together really well. I tuned in, saw the title, saw Hedra Cap, thought we were on a brew. Yeah, not an all caps brew for sure. Am I playing in the Judge Academy tournament this week coming up? I'm not gonna. I'm not interested really in playing any paper events besides Vegas right now. It's just like I don't have the time or the energy to like play a ton of paper tournaments. But also like that people keep asking me about that 20K. Didn't those same organizers run a 10K like two months ago or something that ended up being kind of a disaster? And like, maybe like obviously, I hope it goes well. I hope that the event runs well. But I was under the impression that the same tournament organizers ran a bad tournament recently. I could be misinformed. Yes, okay, that's good. What I thought. You like Teferi in the sideboard. You lose Lurrus if you have Teferi in the sideboard, and there's not really any matchup where it's worth that trade. I think. I'm gonna cast this. It lasts until 4 a.m. Yeah, exactly. So. Like, maybe they have learned their lesson, right? But just me personally, I'm not willing to, like... I will need to hear that they run a good tournament before I show up. Alright, we need to keep that so we can have a threat. Although... No, sorry. The ley line's in play. Never mind. It's captive 400 participants. I mean, I don't know exactly what the issues were last time, right? I didn't attend. I just like in like the local Facebook pages and stuff, and all my friends here in the area said it was all really miserable. But I don't know the exact details. But you know, either way, I'm not going either way. I don't have a lot of time and don't have a lot of energy and. I think Vegas is going to be maybe my last paper tournament this year. We'll see if there's anything in December, but probably not. Yeah, it was really cool that Corey won the SCG with Grixis Shadow. It was really nice of him to shout me out too. When is Vegas? It's next month, November 19th to 21st or something like that. Any way to see the SCG VOD? You'll be sad to hear there is no SCG VOD. Oh, it is this month. Yeah. Happy first day of November. Okay, I guess they're about to go to discard, so I think okay to wait like one more turn. Is there Discord for subs? Yeah, I'm not active at all in there, but if you type !Discord, you can get in there. Dude, they milled 2 more Ragavans? That's pretty bad for us. That's really bad for us. Yeah, closing this game out might be a problem. They also drew a land. Can you splash black of this deck for Death Shadow Thoughtseize? Pretty sure this is a joke, but I don't have a way to retort. Kind of flooding out a little bit, huh? Piri Poo, thank you for the 3 months. Thank you for having Poo in your name. Another land, geez. Another land, golly. What the hell? Yeah, where's my dens? Alright, let's heat this. They have 6 cards in their hand. I guess I should probably Sentinel first here. I don't have a third fetchable white source. So 33 cards in our library. We really need this Lurrus to survive. They've let me draw a card every single time so far. Okay, not this time. I hope that their hand is all surgical extractions. I don't know why they're playing the surgical and landline in the main deck. Where do you put the black-white blink deck card meta? I think the deck's terrible. I beat Nazart on Saturday, but obviously, like, Modern is definitely in the place where you can play any deck that you like and do well with it, but I think that deck's not very competitive at all. Can you play Bluetron? Yeah. Trylon's been playing Bluetron. Yeah, Modern is in the spot where I think you can play almost any deck and have like an above 50% win rate with it if you like spend the time to like really master it, right? Okay, let me draw a card. Let me draw 2 cards here. 1 mana, your opponent draws 2, you draw a run. Rope Burn, thank you for the 9 months. Would I say Modern's the best it's ever been? I don't know if I'd say that. I'd say it's about as good though. Like it's about as good as it ever is. Do you have opinion on the Jund Saga deck? That deck's very good. I like the deck a lot. I think it's gotten a little bit worse the last couple weeks with like blue-white control, 4-color being as popular as they are, because neither of those matchups are that good. But or maybe blue-white control is pretty good. But I think that deck's very competitive. Definitely a good choice if you like to play that kind of strategy. Why did they pay? I think I don't know. I kind of feel like they think me drawing is good for them because they're a mill deck, but I don't know if I agree with that idea. Think Kurmar's get a little worse than Pre-Image 2? I don't know. I mean, obviously you're entitled to your opinion, of course, but Pre-Image 2 is like I just Heliod and Blue Red Prowess specifically were so dominant for so long. Like those like were the tier 1 decks for months leading up to MH2, and there were other viable strategies, of course, and you know, it's not like gameplay was terrible then, but the format's felt like a lot more diverse and interesting to me since MH2. But obviously you're entitled to your opinion. What could be an opponent's hand? Surgical extractions. They show us that they're playing surgical and the ley line. I feel like they probably got a couple of those in there. Literally every deck has an MH2 card. Yeah, people keep saying like that. Keep saying stuff like this. Every deck's got MH2 cards, and I just don't know. Like, personally, I don't know why that's a problem. You know what I mean? Like, at least as far as I'm concerned, I only care about gameplay. I care about gameplay, format diversity, the ability for metagames to shift. That's all I care about. But again, also like if for some reason like this is something you value, like there is nothing wrong with that. Okay, so as good as Esper Sentinel is on turn 1, I think that I guess I could just put back a Channeler. So my options here are to put back Channeler and then go turn 1 Channeler, turn 2 Channeler Bauble. Or sorry, turn 2 Sentinel Channeler Bauble. Or I can put back Channeler and then go turn 1 Sentinel. And then just see what happens. And turn 1 Sentinel is so strong. But I think the ability to play triple 1-drop is a bit stronger. I'm going to save the Bauble for when I play the second Channeler. Can you explain why I chose the worst counterspell art? I'm a shitty person with shitty taste would be the main reason. Go graveyard that. There's Mari command on top, interesting. Dial the Thrill, thank you for 2 months, appreciate ya. Oh, the 1-drop stuff to win. We also have Lurrus, but yeah, you win with just these. I think people tend to over-evaluate the number of win conditions you need. Oh boy. I mean, I guess this is a 2 for 2. So they're not. They might be like the Through the Breach deck that someone was saying did well this weekend. All right, let's dash. GG, Mista. Creativity. Not if they're playing Spirebluff Canal Basic Island, or at least they're not a traditional creativity list. Yeah, someone said that Through the Breach with Blood Moon did well in the challenge. I'm assuming that this is this list. Thank you, Mart. I think the problem is it made everything prior absolute. Yep. Everything prior absolute, so Festive Barn deck is supposed to be long-term format. Those decks useless problem. Again, play is good, but affect the blue and process healer useless now is a problem. I mean, I think that that's a fine criticism. To say that every modern deck is obsolete now, though, because of Modern Horizons 2 is a gigantic hyperbole. It's a gigantic hyperbole. In fact, like Jeskai Prowess, which is like an evolution of the blue-red Prowess deck, is a totally viable and like underplayed Magic deck at the moment as well. In any format, decks are going to like rotate in and out of favor, but to say that every like MH2 has made every deck irrelevant is an incredibly big hyperbole. Johnson, thank you for the gifted sub. Appreciate you. Is hyperbole a fancy word for BS? Hyperbole means exaggeration. It's an exaggeration. Hyperboles are usually like half truths, you know. Like they're like obviously Modern Horizons 2 has made like some decks less relevant, absolutely. But to say that it's it's like just like made anything that's, you know, before irrelevant, it's just a big exaggeration to make your argument look, you know, stronger, right? All right, I've got Through the Breach. Yawgmoth's a great run, and it's just change your hierarchies with the old ones. Yeah. Yawgmoth is a great example of like, yeah, it got like a small, like, yeah, a lot of decks are like that too, where they just get like small upgrades, and oh, this is gonna be a good turn for them. Jeez, and steal the Ragavan. Might be beatable though. We get to keep the Lurrus. Yeah, some decks just ended up getting like small upgrades, right? And then they've got some Modern Horizons cards, like Tron is a good example where Tron gets to play I guess we're gonna go Exile. Sorry, bottom. Yeah, sorry, Exile this. Play this tapped. Play Channeler. Yeah, I'd say that Tron's a good example where you get like Yavimaya, and like that's about it. And then Tron is like definitely a deck that's viable in some of these environments. You know what I mean? And like a lot of the Cascade decks too. Ooh, keep that on top for sure. A lot of the Cascade decks are like. Should I trade Lurrus? Yeah, I think I should actually offer this trade. It's obviously I have the heat, but with the iteration on the top, I feel like I'm supposed to offer this trade. Yeah. The Cascade decks got Shardless Agent, which is obviously like a huge upgrade for them, but it's like they already had access to 2 3-mana Cascaders. Now it's like they just have access to like a more consistent one than Ardent Plea plus Outburst, which has bad mana, or Violent Outburst plus Dread Return, which has rough. Violent Outburst plus Dread Return, which like needs a creature in play, you don't get to be blue. So I don't know. Do you think Esper Sentinel would be good Esper Reanimator? Probably not, but I think you could maybe sideboard it. The Tro's Solitude is more expensive than Monkey, as far as I know. Scott here, I don't see why run this list over Jeskai Murktide. Esper Sentinel's insane, underplayed, and Solitude is not, or Murktide region is not as good as it has been because of Solitude. Target the Bolt instead of the Fire Ice. They might not know that the Fire Ice bug is fixed. Compass argue evoke elementals a bigger upgrade for Cascade decks and Shardless. Yeah, I think you could make that argument for sure. Yeah, I know Murktide made a big comeback over the weekend. I talked about this morning. Like, I feel like I really wish I had figured this list out last week when I feel like it would have been a bit better, but I still want to mess around with it. Good to hear, Rice Tackler. Thank you for actually doing some testing. I'll keep that in mind. Guess I'm gonna bolt the Snapcaster. A lot of flood today. What's the new Blue-Red Mercantile innovations that made it come back? Almost nothing, to be honest. Like, I mean, the reality is that, like, we've been talking about this morning. It's like, you can do well with, like, any deck in Modern right now. Like, the format is really open and very diverse, and it just is the case that you are able to find success with, like, really any deck in the format. And Blue-Red Mercantile is a super powerful deck. People are, like, continuing to play it, and they're going to continue to do well with it as long as it's legal. One says innovation just about challenge meta shifts everywhere against certain decks will do well against others. I mean maybe, but could you like point me to like the exact changes that make Blue-Red Mercantile better? Because I feel like the meta has not like shifted in such a way that like what was making Blue-Red like less popular has changed. You know what I mean? It's like the four color decks and blue-white control and hammer time are like very popular, which makes things bad for blue-red, and I don't think like really any of that has changed. Play one Wear Tear for Blood Moon. They might board out the Blood Moon though. Play bolts. Most wingless swap considered for Thought Scour. Is that worth testing? Yeah, I think it is. I think it might be better. It's very close in my mind. I think the next time I play like Jeskai Broken, I'll do that. Force Jace Blood Moon. They've always kind of had those. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I like to be honest. I think that obviously like there are decks that are less viable than others, and there are metagame changes, and things are changing, you know, from week to week a little bit. But like Titan top 8 the challenge, and like nothing's like that different from the Titan decks. But like you just heard like for the last 2 months, 3 months, Titan players saying how like unplayable their deck is. Nothing's really changed, but they've just kind of realized like how to pilot their deck in the changing metagame and how to like just continue to play like a very, very strong archetype to success. You know what I mean? This format is really, really open right now. I think people don't realize how open Modern is at the moment. You think your Jeskai variant is better than Blue-Red? How come we don't see more Jeskai versions like yours being played? I don't freaking know, man. I don't know why people don't play the Jeskai version over the Blue-Red version. The mana base is a little bit worse. The splash is really easy to do. The prismatic endings give you so much equity in all of your bad matchups. And then you also have a much, much better sideboard. And I don't think I'm ever gonna go back to Blue-Red, or at least like not in. I maybe will go back to Blue-Red if I feel like. So I'm gonna play a red 1-drop on turn 1, so I can double 2-drop on turn 2. Maybe I will play Blue-Red if I feel like Blood Moon is particularly good, or if like I just feel like I need the 2-color mana base for some specific reason. But just boy does that deck feel a lot better. Yeah, and there was a Jeskai Mercantile deck that like top 8'd the PTQ last week. You know, it's just that people haven't adopted it. I don't know. People always pretend like I've got like this big influence on the metagame, but like really the reality is, I sometimes I make cool lists that people get inspired by and stuff, but a lot of the time like that's like where it ends. You know what I mean? And people just want to do their own thing. People really want to do their own thing in Modern. From Jeskai, the only loss to Blood Moon, but getting ending its fair. Yeah, of course, like there are weaknesses, but I feel like the strengths like far outweigh the weaknesses there, especially because they help your bad matchups so much. Like your Chalice matchups and your Hammer Time matchups are so greatly improved. Thank you, Shaka. Is there a VOD this weekend for the Fiddlebender games? Yeah, there is. I guess maybe I don't want to spoiler for you, huh? Okay, going to game 3. Yeah, Sentinel is just so good. Like, Esper Sentinel is criminally underplayed in Modern. which is why you just see me putting it in so many decks lately. Like usually when, you know, I realize that there is a card like Sentinel that is just like, that is just sicko and it just isn't seeing like any play outside of Hammer Time. I usually try to find a lot of good shells for it, and this is one of them, I think. Frosty, 8 months, thank you. Hell yeah. Glad to have you in the Shark Typhoon. How good is Blue Moon? It's pretty good, I'd say. Definitely a viable deck. Obviously, it's a hyperbole, it's just a huge shakeup, which Modern shouldn't be, is what I mean. Well, I mean, so that's one thing. Like you should like we have to like understand is that you think Modern shouldn't have big shakeups when a new set comes out. I like it when Modern has big shakeups, and so I don't like. There's really just like no wrong answer when it comes to like how you want the format to be played, as long as you understand that. Everybody's got different opinions about how formats should be, and that's okay. Like I think that you not liking how much Modern has changed in this way is completely fine. It's completely fine, but just understanding that that's not how everybody likes it is, I think important as well. Hey Simon, 23 months. Esper Sentinel is the best one-mana spell in Modern. It might be, yeah. It's not that I wonder why it was advertised that way. I mean, it was advertised that way in its inception, which was like 10 years ago, right? Things change, you know? Things change. If they bolt me, I might want to just path my own creature. Wait, they're casting ice and not fire? This must be a misclick. But I'm not gonna. Maybe I should just spell pierce to it. Just get the game better. Whatever, just move on. Might feel good, especially against Black and Yawgmoth. Yeah, it's also a big matchup for the splash. First 2 rounds are against Burn. White felt bad there. That's true, but you also get sideboard. You also get. I am sideboarding Blossoming Calm because the Burn matchup is, you know, a bit worse. But glad you're liking the deck, dude. Hope you continue to find success with it. I guess I'll attack first. Oh, I was supposed to path my own Ragavan there. Okay, so they're gonna Snapcaster Fire, but then I can Spell Pierce the Fire, and then get Delirium. I can also path the Snapcaster, which gives me Delirium too, but... That could be better. I get to save the Spell Pierce. Giving them the land there kind of stinks. I think I'll just use the Pierce. The Pierce gets worse. And like just like being able to like make Murktide Regent not an out here is really important too. I think I need to graveyard this because I really want to find a land and play the 3rd Channeler here, keep the pressure up. That's not a red land. Let me graveyard that one. Oh, well, my greed got me here, I guess. Path one of your DRCs to save one and not keep a land. I mean, saving one's not that interesting to me when like they're really behind on board here. You know what I mean? I don't have Snap Bolt, please. Damn it. It's pretty good. They only have 3 cards left. Ugh. Do you think if you got 2 Fortness Sentinel, 1 Mending, 1 Snap, you can add 4 Sentinels, Esper Mentor? Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. You could definitely do that. So if they attack, they've got like Fire Ice or something like that. So not zero Reanimator deck. We're talking about in the Mentor deck instead of the Reanimator deck, right? Yeah, I don't like it in the Reanimator, but in the Mentor deck, I think it's more interesting. I feel like I lose this fight if I counter here. Will I revisit Esper Mentor soon? Maybe. I don't necessarily have concrete plans to do so, but I might. I think I have to fight over this. They probably have a counterspell. Definitely graveyarding that. And they have one card in their hand. Yeah, I know I still have Lurrus. I did surveil a Hallowed Fountain in the yard, but I still have one to fetch, and I've got the coast here. I'm gonna graveyard that though. I know that it is a white source for Lurrus, but I feel like it's just still worse than the average draw step here. If they sack the explosives, maybe I should path here. I think I should. I think the extra land is worth it. With me having access to the Lurrus. I'll keep that in the deck, but I do have to shuffle it here. Hey Doom, how's it going? And the next turn I can put Lurrus in my hand with Counterspell up too. Oh, I'm gonna counter this. Or try to. They could have a Counterspell. They don't though. Am I satisfied with Path? I feel like giving lands is pretty rough in the format. Path to Exile is in my sideboard. It's not in the main deck. And I only have it in the sideboard against Murktide decks mostly. I would also bring it against Hammer. Yeah, it's just a sideboard card. Bring it against Yawgmoth too, I guess. But like in this deck, you just need to be able to answer the Murktide regens. With an attack because of Ragavan, but they seemingly have drawn an answer to Ragavan. I think I'm gonna bolt the Snapcaster. This game's gonna go a long time. Good draw. What do you think about Force Negation? I have the feeling it's a bad card. It's a playable card. Just don't have it in this list. They have enough counter magic. My curve's low enough, I don't feel like I need it. But I think Force is like pretty playable in the control decks at the moment. Discard Scalding Tarn, Lightning Bolt. It's fine. What do run as bad matchups? Hammer Time? Hammer Time is pretty close. I'd say that Tron is its worst matchup. Mono Green Tron is criminally underplayed in Modern as well right now. I think. I could be wrong. But I think it's pretty underplayed. Alright, try to draw 2 cards here. Yeah, I have 1 card left. If it's a counterspell, we draw a white source, we get to Lurrus. That's a great draw. So now we get to go Lurrus. They will pop the Relic in response, then we get to Bauble. Bad if they have a bolt. Say blue-white's worse for Rhinostron. That's probably true, yeah. Although, does the Yorion Rhinos deck favored against blue control Doom? Or nah? 2 cards. Looks like they don't have it. I think E-Tron is unplayed. I think E-Tron's pretty good too, yeah. I would say it's like, you know... E-Tron I feel like is seeing more play than Green-Tron, but I think E-Tron's decent too right now. I've been pretty impressed the last few times I've seen it. Alright, 2 cards. One of them is Canal, unfortunately. Okay, that's a great one. And another Murktide's not that good for them here, of course. Although they did just draw the Scour. It would be a 5/5. Yeah, that makes sense, Doom. Oh boy. Let's freaking go. They have Snapcaster on top. Hands. Bottom, Exile. I guess I should have exiled the Canal, because I'd rather have the Steam Vents in the deck. Right. Things swing back in their favor if their last card's another Counterspell. They're drawing Snapcaster if they don't shuffle. Is Lurrus problematic? Yeah. I think Lurrus is not shouldn't be legal in Modern. I've been, it's obviously like not like this like crazy thing that needs to change anytime soon, probably, but I've had the opinion that Lurrus should be banned for a while now. It just does too much for too little investment, and cards that do too much for too little typically get banned. But I just do think the card does a little too much for the deck building cost. You know what I mean? It's just too efficient. But I'm not like, out here picketing in the streets. I read $10 deck tech, very stock list, mostly want to input on Sideboard. Okay, mostly can chat and take a look. Yeah, there even are some like mono white lists that like just do like that don't play Lurrus for like the Nelsyst and the swords. I'm not convinced that it's better, but it is an option. Chandra's Incinerator becomes stock and burn. Not only stock, but banned. Banned Chandra's Incinerator. It's a 1-mana 6/6 trample. Alright, push my Channeler. No companion. Fruiting Catacombs, Overgrown Tomb. Push. Gotta click side at the bottom. Jund. Give me a second here. I might just, if I drew a land here, which I did, I think I'm just going to go Lurrus in the hand. Okay, so this is the Jeskai list. Swapping Consider over Thought Scour, which is something I want to do the next time I play this deck. I've also been playing this list, but I've been playing the third Charm over the third Archmage's Charm over the... Do I have Delirium? Don't. The third Archmage's Charm. Third Charm over... a fourth main deck ending. It's obviously, like, kind of close. But I think I would recommend the third Charm. Or, like, the first Teferi. I was also playing third Teferi. Or first Teferi in the main deck. Over the Spell Pierce. But not a big deal. And then I have to find out the side button. Click side at the bottom. Side at the bottom. Chill. 15 months. Appreciate you. Okay, I need more direction to the sideboard. I'm stuck. I don't see a. Is this? All right, somebody tell me where it is, and we'll take a look. Scroll down. What? No. I scrolled down. Look. Alright, the real Lurrus. I do have the heat that can kill Lurrus here. Let's go iteration first. Might want an ending instead, right? I guess we'll go hand, bottom, exile, so that I get to get a 2-for-1 here. Alt F4 for sideboard directions. That can't be right? Click X. Oh, I see. Remind me later. And so now I get to see the sideboard thing. Okay. So you're playing 2 Teferis, Blossoming Calm, Jace. I really don't like the Jace. Like, the Jace, like, makes, like, so much more, like, sense in theory than in practice. But it just, like, is a pretty slow card. And it's, like, just, like, not, like, it doesn't feel like a very cohesive sideboard plan. It's just kind of, like, in there. Because you know what I mean? I would really like to see the third Wear Tear. I don't think you need the Relic, where you have access to removal for Murktide, for Kroxa. You have counterspells for like for moving into Reanimator. I don't think you need the Relic. Has been at least something that I've been, I've been liking not playing the Relic. Play the second Sentinel, see what they do. Yeah, I would not play the Jace. I'd probably play the third Wear Tear in that spot. I also don't like the explosives that much. I think it's okay to play one, but I don't think you really need them. When you have access to all these Wear Tears. Like, obviously it helps your Rhinos match up some, so if that's what you're worried about, you can do that. But you also have to Fairy and Flusterstorm and Veto for Rhinos. And then, I feel like there is a sideboard card here missing that I usually suggest. Okay, sorry. I just need to look at my sideboard. Because obviously this is how, like, I'm going to recommend you build it, because this is what I think is the best, but... Oh yeah, I have path decks. I have 2 paths on my sideboard for opposing Murktide Regents. I think that's worth it. It's also good against Hammer Time, but... if you disagree, that's fine. Yeah. It's just like Path gives you a huge edge against Murktide decks, and if you don't like it, then that's like, you know, totally fine. Not like the biggest deal. I was maybe supposed to Prismatic Ending instead of Heat here. Did I see Reckless Impulse? Maybe better than Prowess and Iteration. I haven't seen that. I've been looking for some modern cards from the new set. So if you want to post it, I'll take a look. Just like, what? No way! Yes, that's so good for us. I just like this modern Jace is too slow most of the time. I think that's, you know, fine critique. I will say though that like Jace has kind of always been a little slow in modern. You know what I mean? Let's not pretend like so if I graveyard this, then that is a artifact in the yard, which makes this a 5/6, but still dies to heat. So let's let this die to heat and then pierce here. Yeah, like let's not pretend like Jace has like ever been like this crazy staple that's just like this 4-mana powerhouse that comes down and just like crushes your opponents. It's just never really been that in modern. It's always been like kind of medium, even when it's been playable in control decks. Sorcery, exile top 2 cards of your library until end of turn you may play those cards. I mean, this is worse than Light of the Stage. Yeah, this is not better than Iteration or Light of the Stage. So the basic theory of playing the Cycle of Murktide. Esper Sentinel is criminally underplayed. Getting to play it with all the other good 1-drops and backed up by counterspells is really exciting. Usually you only see this in like the Naya deck, but you don't have good interaction in the Naya deck. You also get Lurrus as a companion. And Murktide, while Murktide is like back on the rise, Solitude is on the decline a little bit. Solitude is still like a little bit on the decline because of so Murktide is a little bit on the decline because of Solitude. Yeah, but Sentinel is just cracked. The card is just like absurd, and it's just generally really underplayed in my opinion. I think I will ending the Germ here, or the Insect, so I can play Ragavan with Counterspell up. Is there maybe a worthy way of pumping Esper Sentinel's power in the deck? I mean, you can tell me, right? You can tell me, but it is 100% my opinion. You do not need to buff this card's power or be able to buff this card's power for it to be good in your deck. You just cast it, and it's good. In fact, even it being an artifact helps you with Delirium, so there is a little bit of extra synergy there. But it is my opinion that you don't need to do more work to make Sentinel good. It's just good. Any cards from the new set look about playable? Chandra, the spider kinda. There's like a couple more that like I like keeping my eye on. Like the Olivia might be okay with the new with the 3-mana Sorin that lets you put it into play, but probably not. I thought Cemetery Protector might be okay, but not super exciting. A lot of cards like that, okay, but not super exciting. Uvenwald Oddity to fulfill my mono green stompy desires. Kind of that. Esper Sentinel. I think Runo actually. Oh, sorry. Runo, this guy actually might be kind of good. the sea monster guy. He's got 4 toughness. If you have a big creature in your graveyard, and you get to untap with Runo, then you get to like sneak attack that creature. I feel like this card it reminds me a lot of Arasta the Boar, but 3 mana instead of 5. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think Runo's pretty good. But also like pretty good is like, you know, in the context of just like, you know, maybe somewhat playable in like fringe decks at the same time. Okay, so we're sideboarding against Jund here. I don't want to change too much. I think I'm just gonna not sideboard, actually. Yeah, Cemetery Prowler is fine. Not that exciting. Cemetery Protector. This card's also like, okay. 4 mana, 3/4 flash. Enters the battlefield, exile a card from a yard. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell with the same type, you make a 1/1 human. Not super exciting, but that card is like pretty powerful. Let's keep this. This card is like gonna be good in bad decks, you know, like Soul Sister's Life Gain, but it's like a fine budget card. Might find that Dread Fugue is a little bit more exciting than you might think, but it's probably not. I feel like there's like a couple other cards that are like Fell Stinger's a card I like, but I really thought it had Flash. That was pretty good with Flash. Yeah, that's about it. Cemetery Prowler, yeah. So yeah, Prowler and Cemetery Prowler and Protector, I both think like could be fine cards for sure. Not like incredibly exciting, like immediate modern staples, but playable maybe in some decks. Naya Taxblade from Carter, not a deck tech. Can you explain what you mean by Runo sneak attacking card into play? Okay, well I'm gonna be like really embarrassed if I don't know what this card does. Right? Like, so let me just let's like reread this card, because I already messed this up with the Fell Stinger. I thought it had Flash. Okay, I don't where the hell is there he is, okay. So Runo. There's a battlefield. So say if you have your big creature in the graveyard, right? You've got your Gristlebrand, right? And then when it enters, you put the Gristlebrand on top of your library. Next turn, you untap. You reveal that Gristlebrand to transform Runo into Kralthus, Lord of the Deep. And then when this attacks, you create a tapped attacking token of creature that... Oh, no. Dude, I thought this card put the card from your hand into play. Oh, no, I'm 0-2 now. I'm 0-2. Okay, never mind. Alright, let's do the deck tech. Sorry, chat. I've misread the card again. Okay, so this is Naya. Interesting, Naya Stoneblade. So you have Batterskull, Maul. I mean, I really like you got to play Kaldra here. You're going to be the aggressive deck in most of your games. I really would recommend Kaldra over Batterskull. You can play Batterskull, Maul, Sword of Fire and Ice, and just not play. I guess I'm gonna discard Bolts. Yeah, you can play Batterskull, Kaldra, Maul, but I don't think the Sword of Fire Ice is super necessary. Let's see what they're drawing. Blackleaf Cliffs. Let me leave up the Charm this turn. I'm kind of interested in them like discarding their last card here. And then I just get to untap an ending. That's probably the suite I'd recommend. You're only playing one Archon of Emery. I think that card's really strong. I'd play more of those. Tarmogoyf, Dahlia, Klothys, Prismatic Ending. I don't think that you need these lightning bolts with the Solitudes and yeah, with the Solitudes and the endings. I don't think you need the bolts. I would recommend playing no bolts in this list, and then going up to probably the 4th Dahlia. I think Dahlia is quite strong. 4th Season Pyromancer. You can also play some amount of Fury. I would want at least the 2nd Archon. I think Archon's really strong. I didn't draw another land. can also main deck Prelate. I think Prelate's pretty good. Ooh, Endurance is pretty good here too. They only have 2 cards though. The Blood Moons honestly seem pretty ambitious in the sideboard, but they should maybe even be Magus of the Moons instead. I think we should Iteration, try to find a land here. Wait to crack this to knock our other wave. Yeah, I don't think I have too many more notes. This looks pretty cool. Yeah, I would play Magus because of the Thalias. If you feel like you really need this effect. Definitely a cool list. You could also play Toski in the sideboard if you feel like your control matchup's bad, but your control matchup is probably okay. Magical 15 months, appreciate you. Think John's deck so viable. Yeah, I do. I haven't been playing it just because I haven't really had like any new ideas for it, I guess, but I do still like that deck, yeah. All right, let's play Channeler Ending. Graveyard that to get Delirium if this dies. Still haven't found a 4th land. That gives me Delirium this turn or next turn. I'll just keep it so I can, you know, Charm plus 1 mana spell next turn. Probably the Heat, right? Klothys, God of Destiny on top. Be kind of hard to beat, huh? So I just can't shock here. I guess I should get a tapped Steam Vents. Or maybe I should have dashed Ragavan, then heated with Counterspell up. I think I'm just kind of committed to this line. And just try to find another Prismatic Ending before they get 3 Klothys activations. Did we know about the Klothys already? Well, we just saw it off the Bauble. I guess they might have had another one. Yeah, how did they reveal another one and I just missed it? Maybe they did. Right. They have a Bolt 3 die, yeah. Game 3. Get to be on the play, which is obviously huge. Yeah, but I think Genstack's pretty good. I'm definitely going to do some more playtesting of it before Vegas and might end up playing that deck for sure. Alright, let's keep this, and I think I'm going to play Sentinel on 1. Path is fine in the match. It's fine. I don't think it's like great though. I wouldn't like hate, you know, fault you for boarding in like 1 though. Sentinel good in blue-white control sideboard against Boomerjund. I mean, I would bring it in, but if my goal was to specifically have a card against Boomerjund, it wouldn't be that one. Is there a theoretical reason to play Boomerjund, or is it just people want to play? The deck is actually fine. Yeah, Boomerjund is a totally fine deck. You get to play a pile of very powerful cards that like are decent in the metagame. Boomerjund is a totally fine deck in Modern right now, which again I think just continues to prove the point I've been making all day, is that you can just kind of do whatever you want in Modern. The format is very much open. Hitch, thank you for the 11 months, appreciate you. Or, you know, I mean, that is also, that's hyperbole for sure, but the format's very open. Things are good at the moment. Hitch 11 months, but why mana models? Did the mana look right? Yeah, the mana looked good. Sorry, I meant to say that. Mana did look good, but the Blood Moons are a little ambitious, I think. But if you really feel like you need those for your matchup spread, then I would play Magus instead. You might consider Obsidian Charmal instead, if your goal is to just beat Tron. If you feel like you need to prepare for Titan, then Magus is definitely better. But Charmal is the card I'd recommend to you if you're trying to beat just Tron. Can you bring Bant next to Fate to a Modern event and win? I mean, probably. Alright, so Heats plus... Wait, they just cast a Murderous Rider? What the hell is going on? Yeah, Mind Sensor is kind of interesting too. Alright, let's get Bloodbraid Elfed. Let's go! Oh, man. Alright, green. Let's freaking go. I can't deny another iteration here. Yeah, Throne of Eldraine time. Throne of Eldraine time. Let's freaking go. Usually Questy Beast is really good against Prismatic Ending. Oh yeah, we could have had a full art monkey in play. Keep one of those. Fair enough. I got my reward packs. Keep that on top. Lurrus in the hand. Pass. Let me draw cards. They've got another 2-drop to play. And they're drawing Kolagon's Command. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, I think I play the Sentinel here. I want a blocker. Okay, so now they're drawing Kolagon's Command now. Yeah, if they draw Kolagon's Command, I think I need to counter that instead of this Triumph, right? Need to chump block the Endurance too. Dude, I can't believe we're like behind this game. That Crime Punishment was insane. They also have the Peatland to crack. I think blocking and just not dying to a burn spell is pretty important here. Especially because, like, if I don't block, they'll just hold up the Kolagon's Command. Why not ending the Endurance, hold up Counterspell? I drew the Counterspell off the Bauble, right? No. No, you're right. You're right. Or did I... If I had that line available to me, it was better. Mana War, I think, with 19 months. Yeah, it was better. Although, like, the... Yeah. I think you're right. Alright. Draw it. They top decked. It's a pretty good top deck. Not the worst one, I suppose. They're just gonna let me draw a card and then discard it? Yeah, but then I can draw Bolt. I imagine they minus Liliana here. I got a lot of good top decks. That one's not so bad. That one's definitely going up my opponent's face, I think. Still have 2 bolts left in the deck. Well, I guess that they could, like, Bloodbraid Alpha, I killed that first. Just not that worried about Liliana. Yeah, Ragavan's also lethal if we can dash that. Uh-oh. Okay. I mean, they'll just Edict now. Bummer. Yeah, they might for some reason play around the card in my hand because I'm not conceding, you know. All right. Yeah. I know they just sack a GG, but they don't know the card in my hand. And they also know I'm not conceding while dead on board, so they might plus, but I don't know why they would ever do that. There's like nothing to play around. All right, that was an awesome match. We were so ahead and got crime punishmented to death. That card crushed us. Crushed us. Great match. Keep this. I think Image 2 is more powerful than Image 1. I would say no. Modern Horizons 1 had like Hogak and Astrolabe. You know, it had 2 banned cards. It also had Rin 6, which ended up being banned in Legacy and is one of the most powerful cards in Modern. It's 2. Like, that's very comparable to like Ragavan. Yeah, Force of Negation 2, of course. Force of Vigor. Image 2 average power greater than Image 1 average power. Image 2 top cards. Yeah, you could make that argument, I think, pretty well. I don't know that I would necessarily agree though. But I think you could make that argument. Yeah, Archmage's Charm is also Image 1 card. I think if you're gonna do the average, like the mean average, which is obviously like like impossible to define, but if you do like the mean average of the average of Modern Horizons 1 card to Modern Horizons 2, it's probably really close. If you do median, then Image 2 probably wins. But I think that's just like an indicator that it's a better balanced set, right? Yeah, Cavern would be pretty bad here. They do get the Cavern. Thank you, Desert. What about the mode of the power level? Probably Modern Horizons 2 as well, but I don't know. I feel like sorry, I keep draw two. Like I feel like the average power level being more spread out or like more even along across Modern Horizons 2, in my opinion, just like is an indicator that it's a better designed set. But, you know, 2 cards being banned in Modern from a set is a lot. It's not as much as Throne of Eldraine. But it's a lot, you know. Why no counter? They have the card Cavern of Souls, which makes their creature uncounterable. So you cannot counter. Awesome, Smokey. Congratulations on your finish, dude. Good job. Throne has 3 cards banned in Modern. Once Upon a Time, Oko, and Mystic Sanctuary. As Ragavan dies, we get Delirium. We can also spell Pierce Karn, which is kind of sick. Yeah, Uro was Theros. Yeah, hopefully they go for Karn, you can just spell Pierce. Why is Mystic Sanctuary banned? Didn't play Modern when it was in. So, you know, kind of like Arkham's Astrolabe. It just does too much for too little investment. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so easy to build your mana base in your control decks to be all islands or mostly islands, and any fetch land you have just turns into... Maybe I should have pierced the Mind Stone. What's going on here? Are they attacking before they play Thought-Knot Seer? Second Thought-Knot Seer is really tough for us here. Yeah, just any fetch land turns into a Mystical Tutor, and it gives you like a crazy amount of inevitability in the late game. Like, it basically made it to where blue decks or control decks just could not flood out. You know what I mean? They just straight up could not flood out. Bummer. Yeah, and then also like you had this like loop of Cryptic Command Mystic Sanctuary, which would just effectively lock your opponent out of like being able to attack with creatures. Which to be honest didn't come up as often as people acted like it did, but it was definitely like just access to it was a problem, I think. They have to take this Unholy Heat. I don't really know what we're thinking about here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna attack it if they block a bolt. They know about the bolt though, so I kind of think there's a decent chance they let this happen. Alright, I guess we're casting that. Then we can go, you know, Ballista on one, block a Thought on Seer, bolt the other one. Yeah, I agree that Astrolabe was like a pretty easy mistake to make. Like, it was not... It was a card that was intended to like enable snow decks in the draft environment, and like just like discounting Prophetic Prism, making it like a snow mana, I think is like is an easy mistake to make. I agree. It did kind of break Modern and Legacy a little bit, but it was like I feel like very few people saw the card and realized how powerful it was or what a good enabler it was, and it's a pretty forgivable mistake. No Void Mirror on the side? Nope. Nope. No Void Mirror on the side. Okay, we do have 4 Prismatic Endings as outs to Chalice. Why do I see 0 modern playable cards printed after MTGO? I guess you've got Blindfold on, but like even this last set we've had, Midnight Hunt has been an incredibly impactful set to Modern. Faithful Mending, Consider, Portable Hole, yeah, just to name a couple. I would say that like they have above average number of playables for standard sets even. Yeah, Memory Deluge is a huge one, absolutely. Memory Deluge is a incredibly big. Maybe I should just probably Spell Pierce the Chalice. Yeah, it's end up being a pretty costly mistake. Let's attack first. We can get like Karn, kill the Chalice with the Karn. Can't cast this, right? Yeah. So we need to find Prismatic Ending for the Chalice. Do not. If we find it off of this, we can still survive. Okay. Simply steal the Chalice. Anything for Val that piques your interest? The 3-mana Chandra is pretty exciting, but beyond that, nothing's like super crazy. This Blast Zone is also going to be kind of tough to beat. They printed a fixed version of my cards. Oh, this is just like with what I think. Yeah, what I think the cards do. Good, good. Wizards allowing me to save some face. Could you play Shattering Spree instead of Wear Tear? Wear Tear is better than Shattering Spree in my opinion. The instant speed matters so much against Hammer Time, and that's the main deck you want that kind of card from. Do I celebrate Christmas? Yeah, usually. Usually. Yes, I do. I don't know. What the... Isn't the 4-mana dragon quite strong? I don't think so. I think that 4-mana dragons that you need to untap with and have other spells in your hand, like to do anything. I think like these cards are really fragile to removal. I think they usually end up not being very strong in Modern. Obviously, like there is, you know, the card. It's not like this card is just incredibly weak or anything, but. I don't want to pretend like that kind of card is usually the kind that does anything. At the very least, it's not quite strong. Like, it could end up seeing some play, but... Is it really possible to hammer time with 15 sideboard cards? Question mark. Exclamation point. I don't know what this question is, but yeah, I don't know exactly what you're asking. The best Modern card art ever was. Yeah, I'm really excited for Secret Lair Ball Drifter. They did a really good job with that one. Do you see Goldspan playable Modern? I've played Goldspan Dragon in Modern before. I've played it. I used to like it alongside Silumgar's Scorn to actually have access to a counterspell. Right, so I guess we have to chump block because of the Scavenger Grounds. But now that counterspell's in the format, it's, you know, like that payoff isn't there, but like just playing it alongside counterspell isn't nothing. And maybe you just play 8 counterspells, Scorn, counterspell, Goldspan. I spoke 21 months, hell yeah. Lantern Bear. Hold on. So I'm gonna double bolt the Thought-Knot Seer. 1 mana, 1/1. It bears lanterns, and then it gives you the lanterns, and you get to. Val didn't know the Silent Geist was offering, but she knew it'd be rude to refuse. Well, I wish Val good luck on her ascension to the skies of Innistrad. Kind of a cool card. Thank you, Spoke. Appreciate you, dude. Just pass. Why not bolt instead of blocking? Can't block, have to attack. Oh, you're talking about last turn? I didn't have any red mana. And if we double block last turn, they Scavenger Grounds to shrink both of our channelers to be 1/1s, and then we lose both channelers instead of 1. Walter from the Big Lebowski vibes? Hell yeah. Usually, or like, I've been the Big Lebowski for Halloween a couple times. But never Walter. Usually my friend is Walter instead. But I agree, I've got the vibes today. Pocket Zero! Bad Ragavan! Uh-oh. I don't understand how people are complaining. Modern Horizons 2! Every deck is a Modern Horizons 2 card! Look at this! Look at this! How is Modern Horizons 2 supposed to compete with Matter Reshaper? I just don't understand. It's just like... give me a chance, please. Honestly, them Scavenger Groundsing, you know, gives me the ability to like chump block if I don't find an answer. Ideally, we find Prismatic Ending though. Sentinel. That gives me Delirium when it dies. Can also double block. How many endings do I have? Still have 3 endings and 24 cards. Oh, I totally forgot about Lurrus. I totally forgot about Lurrus. Yeah, okay. Well, we can just Lurrus next turn. I remembered in time to realize that it's like an out here. Seeing the name of the next card drawn. Okay, headphone users, put your headphones on. And then don't complain to me. Oh, sorry. Counterspell! yeah, obviously, if I put Lurrus in hand here, it's just like, we're in pretty good shape. But now I'm tapping out a Counterspell, I'll probably toast. We do get to Counterspell if, we get to block with Lurrus. I don't have a 3rd island to get, but then if I block, I can fetch Shock. If we double block there, doesn't DRC survive? No, it doesn't. They don't like kill the Sentinel and then like that's in the graveyard for DRC to check. Everyone to brew with Moonfall Region. I've seen like the Ponza decks with Moonfall Region. I think it's like okay there. You know, I don't think that's a like I don't think it looks embarrassing in that deck. But it's also true that when you play Ponza, like you know you can't with your like Blood Moon Shell, your Mana Acceleration Shell, you can just play whatever no. You can, you know, to some extent just play whatever 4-mana spell you want, and It's gonna win you the game a decent amount of the time. You know what I mean? Do you think they have a second blast zone? Does anybody know if they currently play 2 blast zones? I don't think I can really afford to play around it. They probably have 2 though. Yeah, they probably have 2. I don't think I could really afford to play around it though. I hope they don't have 2. Want to counter for the Surveil? Counter what? Oh, this the Reshaper? I mean, they've got a lot of cards in their deck I can still counter. Yeah, they do have the second blast zone. Yeah, I think we just have to hope that it wasn't there. This is good for us, though. If I Spell Pierce... No, they still easily sack the blast zone. I might Spell Pierce anyways for the Surveil, depending if I don't like the card that's on top. Yeah, let's go ahead and just... Okay. Keeps us alive. This is a long game 1. It's a really long game 1. Been a long league. We're at match 4. We're 2 hours into the stream. But I play Blast Zone first. It's very soon over. Seems loose. Let me Surveil. I agree completely. Yeah. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say basically over because it's just like the top of my deck can still be good, right? But yeah, I agree. It's a mistake to let me Surveil. Alright, we're super behind. Obviously, we can top deck. We have the ability to top deck better than our opponent here. But I will also say my opponent's top decks are on average better than mine. But assuming that their hand is 3 lands, which it very well might be, or 2 lands and a removal spell, like there is a chance that like we can with the with the counterspell to stop like top deck number 1. Okay, I'm gonna bauble myself here. Because I have the fetch land. And then I'm gonna keep that. Because we do need to kill them. And hope that they, drew a land here this turn. They played Eldrazi Temple. And we drew Counterspell. Let's freaking go. Ragavan Counterspell. Yeah, it could never beat a Smasher, I think. We'll see. Is this Dismember? Please be Dismember. Warping Whale way better for us. For them. No Dismember, unfortunately. And I can't cast Warping Whale. Get this card, replace Monkey. Curse of Hospitality? I don't think so. I've seen the card. I think that this is kind of a pretty common mistake players make. That they'll see a card that has a somewhat similar effect to an expensive card, and they'll think that that means that it's a budget replacement for it. Like, a good example is... okay, what's the Snapcaster that's a spell? The 2 mana's like Surveil to Snapcaster or something. Thunder thing for 3 months. Like, people think because this has like a similar effect to Snapcaster, it's a good budget replacement. No token for Warping. We can't cast Warping Whale. It costs a colorless. Yeah, mission briefing. But and when you're making budget decisions, you need to find a card that's like inexpensive and high power level. Just different. Yeah, Warping Whale costs a colorless. We have no colorless. Do you have bolts left? Yeah, we've got bolts in the deck. We have... Oh, no. We have no bolts in the deck. We're only playing 3. Oh, yeah. I thought we had 1 left. That makes it harder, huh? Makes it harder to win. Yeah, maybe Poto will have a bolt we can steal. Probably dead, huh? No, come on! Ooh. Steal, huh? If we were at a higher life total, we could try to steal the turn and hit him. I guess it's only hitting them for 2. Alright, let's just go to game 2. Okay, Wear Tear is better than Ending for the most part. We have no bolts left in the deck, Steven. Or red. Yeah, we're out of bolts. I don't usually like Path that much against them, especially when we have access to heat. I'm also not that big a fan of Sentinel. Sentinel's okay. I think I'm going to trim 2 copies. We can play 2 Dovin's Vetoes, and then we can play the first Path or the first Bolt. If Bolt does kill Karn, I'll play one of these. Snap Keep. Oath of the Great Watch greater than Image 2. To be honest though, like you're actually like, I know you're joking, but there has been no set that has just like immediately destroyed Modern more so than Oath of the Gatewatch. Just like the Eldrazi being in that set being printed like actually destroyed Modern. But obviously it was like, you know, the problem was Eye of Ugin existing. Alright, I'm not gonna dash because of Chalice, of course. Yeah, Eldrazi Winter is like one of Modern's like darkest times. Maybe the darkest. Okay, Exile Ragavan. Can Lurrus in our hand if we don't draw anything. Steam Vince is not anything. Was taking over format the same as destroy it? Then both image sets destroyed Modern. I wouldn't say it's the same as destroying it. Cause like, yeah, no, I wouldn't say. I would say that taking over formats is not the same as destroying it in the sense that like, I think to destroy a format you have to have a tier 0 deck that's just unbeatable, like Hogak, Tibalt Cascade, Eldrazi Winter, or like the Urza Oko Astrolabe decks. But also like yeah, I'm not saying that the Modern Horizon sets didn't take over Modern, but I think my definition of a set destroying the format is just creating a tier 0 deck, which tier 0 decks don't happen that often, but when they do happen, they're like big disasters. Let's see what we find here. Archmage's Charm is interesting. I wonder if I'm supposed to... I should have bubbled them, sorry. Hold up Charm here. I think I'm supposed to go Lurrus, Ragavan. I can also go Lurrus Bauble, try to find Delirium, but I feel like I like the getting more of a board presence here. 7 mana, Star. Power tap to equal to lands you control. On this battlefield, put a land from your hand on the battlefield tapped. If you do, draw a card. Repeat this process. Repeat this process. Plant Beast. That card's pretty cool. What was the 2-mana Eldrazi? That was the biggest one. Eldrazi Mimic, right? Was Cascade Tibalt really tier 0? It was a very strong deck, neither Hogak or Eldrazi Winter level. You have that perception because Cascade Tibalt only lasted 2 weeks. Cascade Tibalt was maybe more broken than Hogak or Eldrazi Winter. I don't think he had enough time to like really discern. But like I and like a lot of other people with main deck like I played a PTQ where I was main decking Force of Negation to Pithing Needle to Fairy Time Raveler, and like with the intention that I was going to beat up on the Cascade meta, and I like was 0-3 against it. It was absurd, just like how good that deck was at fighting through hate. Like I got turn one Tibalted through a Force of Negation in the PTQ. It was ridiculous. It was actually ridiculous, and like that kind of stuff happened very consistently. It happened with a disgusting degree of consistency. It was only 2 weeks, but I like that 2 weeks. I think was like people don't realize how absurd it was. All right, let's get the Delirium and try to race here. Yeah, it was absolutely tier 0. And I think in my experience, there have only ever been 4 tier 0 decks in Modern. Eldrazi with Eye of Ugin. Eldrazi with Eye of Ugin, Hogak, Urza with Oko, Astrolabe, Mystic Sanctuary Once Upon a Time, and Cascade Tibble. How do they get you force? Commandeer to protect their threat through the force. That's the pun. That's the problem with, or that's what a tier 0 deck is, in my opinion. When every deck is trying to beat it and it just can't be beat. It just is too good, too powerful. Alright. 2-0 to 2-2, big sad. What Oko variant was the tier 0? So there was a blue-green artifact deck that got to play Astrolabe, Mox Opal, Urza, Imri, Oko, Mystic Sanctuary. I think they played Once Upon a Time too. I think Once Upon a Time got banned before the rest of the stuff. So like I think at one point they were playing like 5 banned cards in the deck. And that was honestly my least favorite of all the tier 0 decks, because it also just like, oh, my hand's actually pretty good against Grief Ephemerate. Because like there were like hate cards against the other decks, you know what I mean? That sometimes would steal you a game. Against the Urza pile, the Urza Oko pile, there were not hate cards you could draw to. Like the best cards against them were like Mystical Dispute. I think I want to use Bolts because Heat is pretty good against Reanimator. Yeah, they got to play Astrolabe, which is banned, Mox Opal, Oko, Once Upon a Time, Mystic Sanctuary. There's 5 banned cards. Should have bubbled them, sorry. Oh yeah, they might have played Uro too. Or that might have been before Uro. It's all like a bit muddy in my mind, you know what I mean? Yeah, I agree that Hogak is like the more powerful of all these, is more powerful than the Arkham, the Oko Urza deck. But the issue is like there's not a card like Leyline of the Void that is a very good card against Hogak. But the problem was like it was like the only good card against Hogak, you know what I mean? And it was definitely beatable. That was the issue there, right? But there wasn't like a secret good card that was good against the Urza decks. Like they were an artifact deck that was not soft at all to Stony Silence or Collector Oof. They were like just so incredibly resilient to these cards. Like the best sideboard card against them was Mystical Dispute. Thank you, Lurrus. I can keep a Ragavan. Yes, the Lurrus card is pretty good, huh? We drew Counterspell. Okay, so up a game against Esper Ephemerate Reanimator. We bring in these guys, cut the endings and bolts. Pretty clean sideboarding here. Yeah, Esther Reanimator. Alright, no Grief Ephemerate, please. They keep 7. Hello. Would you like some coffee? I would, yeah. I was actually just thinking I need something else to drink. Thank you, sweetheart. You can read my mind. The neural connection is finally complete. Alright, I'm going to shuffle away the 4th counterspell here. Is MTG only playable on Windows/PC? You can make a virtual machine, I think, but it's kind of a pain in the ass. Have I tinkered with spirits since the addition of Counterspell to the format? I haven't. I don't know. There are better Counterspell decks. Alright, you're gonna need this 4th Counterspell, says the deck. I bought these this morning with my... I bought these in the full art Archmage's Charms with my challenge winnings from a couple weeks ago. Have you seen a Coco recently? I mean, I've been casting Coco in Jun Sack and liking it there. It's a Mirrodin Swamp. Pretty nice looking. But I consider renaming this deck dies to Chalice on 1? No, because I have 4 Prismatic Endings to not die to Chalice on 1. I would say that we're like incredibly resilient to Chalice because of the endings, right? I mean, obviously we can still lose to it, but I'm not that worried about it. I think I like using one of the counterspells there. Sentinel's not doing too much at this point in the game, probably, but still kind of annoying for them. Yeah, Dies to Blast Zone is probably better. Yeah, that's definitely the truth. Like, people like Dr. Queller, despite like Spirits being not that well positioned, they're just gonna keep playing Spirits, and they're gonna keep winning. Because we talk about this all day, that is absolutely... they're targeting the Sentinel instead of the Channeler. Dude, that really just tells you how strong this card is. I'm gonna let this go, I think. Yeah, I really do feel like Modern is in a place where obviously some things are more viable than others, and not everything is a good choice for a tournament. But if your goal is just play the deck that you like and have an above 50% win rate, you can do it with, I think, almost any deck if you like really spend the time to master it. Yeah, like Trellon, like Ice Nine, like that is absolutely kind of the dynamic of the format. How do I only have 1 counterspell in my hand? Thank you, Kipto. What Dorotheus you play in Spirits? I'm really having a hard time evaluating that card. At the time of making this comment, I think it's not that good, but could be good. I'm gonna let this go. Yeah. Titan is also definitely a deck that's like, people have this impression that it's like unplayable, but it's totally viable. Yeah, Dorothea is actually kind of good with it's kind of good with Rattle Chains, right? Because you can flash it in as a blocker, like trade with something and then like flash it back for some value. Why 21 lands in this deck with no cantrips? With no cantrips, I want to have higher land count, and it's also like without, if you play like 19 lands, 20 lands, you can't get the number of turn 1 red and white sources you need for the deck. Where, like, being on 21, I have 13 white sources, 14 red, and when I was trying to build the deck with 19, I was like at like 12 and 12 or something like that. But actually getting to a higher number of turn 1 red and white sources is really important. Path is a card we could keep. I think I'm gonna try to find another counter or another Archmage's Charm. And then it's this Scry 2 draw card. I'll keep it. There's also Dovin's Veto to find. Yeah, and when you play Murktide, you need to play the cantrips. You can play lower land count. You don't need to play Sentinel on 1. Like, you don't need white on turn 1 in the other version. Awesome draw. Alright, we can't play the Lurrus this turn though. They're drawing Prismatic Ending, which is fine. I might heat the Channeler in response so that I can try to like maybe find a fetch land to cast Lurrus. Oh no. Do you auto board out Charm versus Blue Moon decks? I mean, Charm is good against Blue Moon decks. Besides against Blood Moon, but like you would never board out Archmage's Charm against a control deck. Just you know, just counter the Blood Moon. You also have Ragavan too to make Blood Moon not as scary. Thoughtseize on top is pretty scary. Does put them to 1. But if they have a Persist, then we're kind of screwed if we don't draw another Counterspell off the Bauble. Drew a Bauble off the Bauble. Alright, so their hand is Thoughtseize Mystery Card. If the Mystery Cards persist, we're in bad shape, but it's not. Finished our first league at 3-2. Not too bad. I think I'm going to run it back. I do like the deck. I want to get a couple more reps in, though. See if I feel like it's better than Jeskai Broken or not.